Bear down, Bears fans. Question on the table today: should Ryan Poles be on the hot seat this upcoming offseason? We'll talk about all that and more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Let's go. What is good, everybody? It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. I need y'all to do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talk Chicago Bears, how Bears fans talk. So make sure you get in tune with us, man. So there's been a lot of talk about the Chicago Bears possibly having a lot of people on the hot seat, right? Of course, Justin Fields, Matt Eberflus, Luke Getsy. But a name that has come up to me that has been very, very interesting has been Ryan Poles as of recent, because it is being reported that, Kevin Warren might want to take a larger role in the football operations side of things. He might want to take a more hands-on role with how things are going in the offseason, heading into the draft, different things like that. So should that mean that Ryan Poles is on the hot seat? And I think that there's a couple of ways for me that really, I don't believe that Ryan Poles is on the hot seat in the first place. And the other thing for me is that I don't look at Ryan Poles' situation as one where he's going to be on the hot seat anytime soon. The number one thing is, number one, if he's on the hot seat, right, you don't let him make the trade for Montez Sweat. You don't let him trade away serious draft capital for Montez Sweat if you feel like you're not going to, there's a chance that you might not have this guy around. And then on top of that, you don't let him commit long-term money to Montez Sweat if you feel like he's not going to be the guy in the building making decisions moving forward. Those are the two biggest things to me that I look at and say, I don't believe that Ryan Poles is on the hot seat anyway, but it's so interesting to me, the reasoning behind why people feel this way, mainly is because of the success of CJ Stroud and the lack thereof of Justin Fields with things moving forward, right? CJ Stroud comes in rookie year, instantly comes out cooking, dominating, going down, leading touchdown drive. Love all of it. I think he's a baller, absolute baller. And what did Ryan Poles do instead of taking a quarterback? Trades away the number one pick, gets the number one pick for the following year, gets DJ Moore in the building, gets another second round pick, and basically replenishes the draft stock the Chicago Bears have moving forward. And then on top of that, picks Darnell Wright, picks Tyree Stevenson off of those picks acquired from that trade. But for some reason, some people feel like, well, now you've almost moved up your timeline, because with that trade of the number one pick, you put yourself in a position where your success is now based on getting the quarterback. You can't let another CJ Stroud come through the pipeline and you don't select him. That would be the same as missing on Patrick Mahomes. And I feel like these are very, very different situations. One, because Darnell Wright looks like an excellent player. He looks like he is going to be a long-term piece for the Chicago Bears on the right side of that offensive line for a long time to come. That, to me, is building your team. On top of that, seeing improvements in Javon Dexter at that second pick, or your first second-round pick of that draft, right? Tyree Stevenson looking like he's going to be an absolute player. I think you go down, right? Roschon Johnson hasn't really popped the way that we thought he might early on, but it feels like he's going to be a long-term piece. You love the blocking and different things that he's been able to do. Terrell Smith has been a beautiful asset. You picked him up in the 5th round. We haven't had Noah Sewell most of the day. Excuse me. I'm sorry, most of the season due to his little injury as well. But, right, like you can look at the draft and see pieces that Ryan Poles picked the right guy. So I think that you're in a little bit of a different situation than here with the Mitch situation, where Ryan Pace came out and he ends up selecting Mitch because you missed out on Deshaun Watson. You missed out on Patrick Mahomes when your whole focal point in all of that was to find the right quarterback. I don't think that's Chicago Bears' focal point here. I believe that Justin Fields is here. And right now, is he a great quarterback? No. Nobody would tell you that. But the question is he good enough for you to continue building the team? And I think that is Ryan Poles' focus. You look at even last year's draft, right? Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker, Velus Jones, Braxton Jones, right? Some nice pieces coming out of that. Ja'Tyre Carter, who's a heck of a backup. Elijah Hicks, right? Like, you look at some of those guys that the Bears have selected and basically say, in 2 years, Ryan Poles has been able to go out. He's been able to consistently get talent. He's been able to go out and find guys who can come in their rookie year and be starters in the NFL and be good starters in the NFL. If I have a GM like that over 2 seasons, why am I putting him on the hot seat because the Texans went out and they found CJ Stroud? I have a GM that, to me, is putting my team in a position to be successful long term. Yes, would I love to have a CJ Stroud? 100%. But you know what I would love to have? A quarterback that doesn't have to worry about getting his head taken off week in and week out. A quarterback that doesn't have to worry about the center to quarterback exchange week in and week out. A quarterback that doesn't have to worry about if his left side of the line is going to be blown up because he just doesn't have somebody competent week in and week out. For me, Ryan Poles' job is not to just find the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears for the future. Ryan Poles' job is to build the team. And I love how people are like, are you a Justin Fields fan or are you a Bears fan? I'm a Bears fan. So if you move on from Justin Fields, that means that you're in support of the Bears and not just Justin Fields. Well, how about you support the team by supporting the team? How about we talk about how the offensive line has been subpar at times when the starting center position has basically snapped the football over whoever the quarterback's head is, right? Or Lucas Patrick has been inept in the blocking game, right? How about we fix that position and then our quarterback's life is easier? How about we talk about the fact that, yes, his defense is playing better, but there's still not a 3 technique on this team. There are still major pieces that Ryan Poles has to find for this team to have success long term. The quarterback position may fix a season. It may fix a moment. It may fix, right? Like listen, CJ Stroud playing great right now. Is he going to be playing great next year? Let's see. Right? Because it all depends on the guys who are around him being successful as well as CJ Stroud. And I think that a lot of people view it as, right, like, well, if I have the right quarterback, it doesn't matter what else I have because that guy's going to be able to go out there and he's going to be able to get the job done. It's not the case. We've seen a ton of times where there's a quarterback who is a good quarterback or a great quarterback, but then all of a sudden he doesn't have a running game because you don't have running backs or you don't have run blocking, right? Like, those are the things that all of a sudden you're like, well, now the quarterback has fallen off. No, the team has fallen off, and you're seeing the quarterback play fall off because maybe the offensive line isn't as good. Maybe they're not blocking as well. Maybe, the run game is not as well. Maybe you've switched offensive coordinators. What the heck happened to Josh Allen? Josh Allen was an amazing quarterback. Nobody could ever compete with what Josh Allen was doing. He was going to be the next Patrick Mahomes to take over the division. Guess what? His play calling changed. His offensive line has changed a little bit. The run game is not the same. Now all of a sudden, Josh Allen looks a little bit more human. He leads the NFL in interceptions. I'm about team building. And so if I'm worried about a guy who's going to go out there and build a team, to me, that doesn't mean that Ryan Poles will be on the hot seat, because guess what? Over the last 2 drafts, he has improved the team. I think people feel like Ryan Poles has been here 5 years. You guys remember, right? He got here the year before last. Or I'm sorry, he got here the year before this. Right? And when he got here, we had no money, we had no draft capital, and we had no future. We thought it was going to take 5 years just to get back to that point. He did it in the first offseason he was here. He got the San Diego Chargers to take Khalil Mack's money. In the first offseason he was here. In his first offseason as a GM. Now, does that mean there haven't been misses? Yeah, there's been misses, right? Velus Jones is a miss. Tyler Scott, I don't know if I'm labeling him a miss yet, but it hasn't looked great in his rookie year, right? And I need to see more from Tyler Scott. Who else? Who else has been a miss? T-Bell was actually nice, and they just didn't keep him around. I would have liked that. To me, Dom Robb been a little bit of a miss. Dom Robb, a later pick, of course, right? But he been a little bit of a miss. Yeah, I mean, I thought about it when I went back and I looked at some of the older draft picks, right? And I was like, I forgot about Dominique Robinson. Like, I forgot he was even on the team. So there are misses involved in this team. That's what being a GM is. You have hits, you have misses. Even for me, the misses are more of the signings, right? The Lucas Patricks are on him. Choosing to stick with Cody Whitehair instead of going maybe out and getting Michael Schmitz instead of Tyree Stevenson. That to me, I'm sorry, that's a miss, right? And Michael Schmitz been a little bit up and down health-wise, right? But like, you knew that he could go out there and be a starting center, play one. I think you could have fixed your offensive line heading into the season and helped your quarterback tremendously. But I don't think that because CJ Stroud is successful right now, that means that Ryan Poles is on the hot seat with what this team is building, with what this team is trying to go out there and do. Now, listen, CJ Stroud sends the Texans on a Super Bowl run. It's a colossal miss. But right now, with the Bears sitting at 4-8 at the bye week here, I see positives on this team. And there's a lot of times where, now, if we want to talk about a miss at anything, the coaching. You got one more shot to get the head coach right to me. You got one more shot to pick the right guy that's going to lead this team long term. And to me, the biggest sin that he could make is a very similar sin that Ryan Pace made with Matt Nagy. You tied yourself to that guy for the long term. You tied yourself to him for the long run. This is my guy. This is the guy that's going to get us out of this. This is the guy that's going to fix Mitch Trubisky. Don't make that same mistake, Ryan Poles, because I'll tell you this, picking the wrong head coach again would be the beginning of a death sentence for Ryan Poles' career. Because there's some things even Ryan Pace did right? There's some players he picked that we liked. I mean, there's still some here, right? Jalen Johnson. We like Jalen Johnson. Eddie Jackson. We like Eddie Jackson, right? Like, there's still some guy, Cole Kmet. Yeah, we kind of up and down on Cole Kmet. But you have to look at those situations and say, okay, yes, he made the right selection, but where did he screw up the most? He picked a number 2 overall quarterback, picked the wrong one, as it still seems to this day. You didn't give him an offensive line that was going to do a great job protecting him because you were trying to hold on to guys of the past. You went out and got him weapons, but he had no time to throw the football, and you got him a head coach that didn't want to use his strengths. And you stuck with the head coach that didn't want to use his strengths. That, to me, was Ryan Pace's cardinal sin. Ryan Poles, if he gets the head coaching position wrong again, then yeah, now we can have the conversation. Now we can say, hey, listen, this guy, he didn't pick the right guy. He didn't go out there and get the guy that he needed to get to make whoever the quarterback is. And I keep saying this because guys act like all of a sudden Caleb Williams or or Drake May or Bo Nix are going to come into this situation and they're going to look at they're going to look at Luke Getsy and go, you know what? I'm the perfect guy for you. It's not. It's not going to be the perfect guy. It's not going to be the perfect situation. It's not going to be, because we haven't seen consistency. We're so worried about consistency with Justin Fields. Have we seen consistency with Luke Getsy? So no matter who the quarterback is under center, that guy needs to change. And I think the biggest sin that Ryan Poles could make would be tying himself to those guys, Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsy, long term. And maybe Flus gets another year out of this. I'm not thrilled about that. I don't think that that's going to lead to some magical Lovie Smith type run where we're talking about Flus 10 years from now. Maybe it does, but I just, that's not my expectation. And I don't think you tie yourself to a guy just because we're seeing his defense play better over the last few weeks. If you think there's better out there coaching-wise, which guess what? We know there's better out there coaching-wise. We've seen proven track records of better out there coaching-wise of coaches that might become available. If you know that, then why wouldn't you go get that guy? Because you're in a position right now where, yes, Matt Eberflus seems like a good guy, seems like he's, I give him credit for at least having these guys continue to compete. But competing ain't going to be enough next year. Competing ain't going to be enough 2 years from now. You got to start winning. You got to start finding ways to win. So if he makes the wrong decision coaching-wise, I think I could see that. We talked with Courtney Cronin about this. By the way, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, man. We do talk Chicago Bears daily on this channel, only channel Talk Chicago Sports, how Chicago talks. So make sure you get in tune with us. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below as well. By the way, on top of all of it, right? Talked with Courtney Cronin about the report that Kevin Warren wants more of a role in the football operations side of things. And basically what she said is this: one, Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles are already in lockstep right now, right? Like, I don't know what people think or what people are reporting. I've seen a couple of different reports from Briggs and stuff, or Brad Biggs and stuff like that, where it's like, you know, he wants more of a hand in the personnel decisions. Like what? Like guys starting week in and week out? Why would he want that? He's still overseeing an entire stadium deal that is a massive overtaking. Right? Like a massive deal that he has to figure out how to get done that really hasn't made a ton of progress this season. And on top of all of that, now you think that he wants to worry about who's starting and who's not starting? He's already got power over football operations. He's already got the power over the final say, I should say, on players being signed or not. He's already got the final say on the trade for Montez Sweat. Courtney Cronin said that Ryan Poles went to him about Sweat before any deal is made, before anything is signed. Like he's already got that power. So what more power do people think that he wants? Do they think that Ryan Poles isn't consulting Kevin Warren on this? This is a real setup, like a real organization now. This is not the mom and pop shop that the Bears were 3-4 years ago. This is now a president of football operations who's been in football operations, who's been in Super Bowl situations, who's helped build Super Bowl teams. He's got that guy. And then we've got a GM who's actually been a part of building Super Bowl teams. And then we've got a vice president of football, assistant GM. That's what I'm trying to think, for Ian Cunningham, who's been a part of Super Bowl operations. These guys understand what it takes to win. Now, do I think that Kevin Warren may be sitting up top and he may look at Ryan Poles and say, hey, listen, no matter what, you have to fire Matt Eberflus. Figure out who your next guy is. You have to move on from him, no matter what. You have to move on from Luke Getsy, no matter what. Do I think that Kevin Warren can say that? Yeah. But do I also think that Ryan Poles might be on board with that as well by the end of this season? Yeah, because you can't tell me that he's seen enough. So I don't think that there's this like major shift of power coming with the Chicago Bears. I don't think that Kevin Warren's going to say, here we go. Now, this is my team now. I'm going to shape it in the way that I want. I think that Kevin Warren has enough on his plate right now with trying to get the stadium deal done and and overseeing the football operation sides that he already has to oversee. We want this dictatorship to come back that is of Bears of old, and it's dead. This is not George Halas making the final say on everything. This is not 1985. This is not, we finally have an organization that is building a team like a modern day organization would. I know this is going to sound crazy, but that is building a team like how the San Francisco 49ers did. That is building a team like how the Eagles did. That is building a team like how the Bills did. That is building a team like how the Miami Dolphins did, right? And you know what those four teams got right that the Bears don't have right now? The right play caller. Bills found Brian Daboll. Works. Dolphins found Mike McDaniels. Works. You know what I mean? Like, come on. We're actually moving towards something. The hot seat conversation on Ryan Poles, to me, is null and void. It's moronic, and I don't see it being a real issue for the Bears moving forward. I don't think that Kevin Warren is going to want to take on more responsibility than he's already got. I think that he's fine with where this team is heading. Now they have to continue to move in that direction. But I do want to know how you guys feel, man. Let me know in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. As always, man, bear down Chicago. Appreciate you guys for showing love. Make sure to tune in with us Monday through Friday for the daily show as well. It's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. One love. Peace.